Hello and welcome to the show. 3 more vehicles are going to be driven till destruction here at the Bajarama circuit, starting with one of the most requested vehicles actually, a cement mixer. Yes, we had the normal truck go around this course. It didn't do particularly well. It did clear radiator springs and did a front flip over radiator springs and then broke down on the next jump. This I expect to be a fairly similar story. I'll be honest, I'm not expecting greatness from the cement mixer. You see, while yes, in a crash against a car, the cement mixer will do very, very well. However, with a landing of a jump, there is a lot of weight. There is a huge amount of weight, a huge amount of force going into a crash, even at like 20-30 miles an hour. And I don't think the drive shaft's going to survive it. I think we're just going to lose the drive shaft in this, much as we did with the other T-Series, much as we did with the bus as well. I mean, the bus did make it towards the end of the first lap. However, even that, might be another issue, might be another small issue with the cement mixer. We might roll it as well, quite top heavy, which means and I say any cornering speed, we're talking like 20 mile an hour cornering speed, might be too much for this. Oh wow, we are, good god, we are bouncing and shaking and just about able. The fact that we're going only 20 miles an hour does mean that I have just about enough time to catch anything that's going on. There was airtime in a cement mixer. I'm not sure the chassis. There was a wheelie as well in a cement mixer, a standard cement mixer at that, doing wheelies. I'm not sure the chassis is going to like this. If it isn't the drive shaft that snaps, I do think we might just snap the entire chassis. I know you can certainly twist and deform the T-Series chassis and so on. And I'm sure we will manage to do that if we are not careful with the cement mixer. Here we go. Oh, there was airtime in that. Oh, crap. It's all twisted. It all twisted on the landing and I couldn't gather it all back up. And we are upside down. This does pose a little bit of a problem. I'm not sure how I'm going to roll this back over again. If we go from the roof, possibly. I can't lift it up from the roof because it's not... The truck is too heavy. I don't think... Can I lift it up by that? No, I can't. The engine is starved of oil. Okay, we're going to actually have to try and put up the strength on the node grabber because our truck is stuck on its side. We kind of really want to do that. Come on, come on, come on. Twist. Hey, there we go. Oh, that is about the most difficult thing I've had to write in this series yet. It just doesn't roll back over and you can't grab anything on the top. So, yeah, that's a difficult thing. Let's try and not... And I know this is going to be really difficult. Let's try and not roll the cement mixer. Because I feel like this could actually... Oh, God, the diff in this thing is useless. Can we... Just, come on. Come on. There we go. Get some drive. I would imagine that it should be both sets of rear wheels that are supposed to be driven. But it does seem like only the very, very rear ones are the ones being driven, and either way it's rubbish. We're going to kind of just have to deal with that. Oh, boing, boing, boing. It's gone. The drive shaft's gone. That was the small... We didn't even get to see if it could survive radiator springs. We didn't even get to try that one out because the drive shaft died. That is a first. We have had cars stuck. What is it that got stuck up here? Was it the Race I-Series that got stuck up here? But that was on its third lap. We have had vehicles get stuck on these bumps a little bit beforehand, but, I mean, you can kind of see the state that the chassis is in. It is quite buckled. Yeah, drive shaft. It is pretty much what I said. There is so much weight going on, so much force that as it bounces and shakes around. I mean, that wasn't particularly bad. All things considered, it survived a rollover and so on, but... Something's worse than the K-Series. It is a first, and it might be quite difficult to get much worse than this, I'm going to be honest, because that is shocking. It really is shocking from the cement mixer. Just too much weight in awkward places, and the chassis can't deal with the bumps. I very highly doubt this would have survived radiator springs. If it has died here from that, I'm pretty sure that's not going to be surviving radiator springs. But there we go. I mean, it had a roll, so, you know, at least that's... I think it spent more time upside down than it has spent driving. That's how pitiful this thing was. But there we go. The cement mixer has gone around and was awful. So, up next, we have the Pazima. Now, the modern Pazima hasn't really had a fair shot around this course. The only one that I have sent is the stanced version of the car, which is completely and utterly absurdly unsuited to this track. It did actually quite well. It made it almost onto its second lap, dying somewhere just about over there, which for a stanced car I don't think was as bad as it could have been. However, we're going to see how the normal version will fare. I've gone for, again, sticking with my theme of mostly for mid-spec car for the basic game cars for now. We've got the V6 in this one, but it isn't a crazy sport version, so it's not turbocharged or anything like that. It is front-wheel drive, which is not a particularly helpful thing. While yes, we can get away with doing pretty much whatever we like to the rear of the car, doesn't matter. If we buckle up the rear wheels, is completely and utterly irrelevant. It's unlikely to be the rear wheels that take a battering. You're going to land with the front of the car, and there are a few places where the landings are particularly vicious, and it's going to be the front that takes that battering. So yeah, fingers crossed we can keep the front alive. If we lose one front wheel axle, one front wheel or something, that's gonna be game over. I imagine the diff in this is gonna be no good, so yeah, we got to try and keep those wheel axles in, or hope the wheel axles can survive in one piece. So far, going pretty well actually. A couple of dings, couple of bent, doors and so on, a little bit of damage at the front, nothing too major as we now sort of coast our way up towards Radiator Springs across these jumps. Are we going to be quick enough in the Pazima? No, not quite. Not quick enough to get across it and land it cleanly. Oh, we almost got away with no radiator damage. That's annoying. The initial roll, the initial impact was fine. It's like a mile an hour or two. Just too slow. I don't think I can get any better run down there. I really don't think we've quite got the performance to make that any faster, which is a shame. We are now pulling a little bit to the left. In all honesty, I would be surprised to see this car go to overheating. With the front-wheel drive cars, they are so liable to taking wheel axle damage, drive shaft damage, etc. That, yeah, I would be surprised. You never know, though. We will keep pushing on and see what we can do. The motocross section is a punishing bit. In fact, in some regards, this might be one of the most punishing parts of the course, because unless you've got a nice rhythm going on, unless you've got a nice amount of speed where you can jump cleanly and land where you want to, you're just smacking your face into the floor, pretty much. Will the Pazima be fast enough? The answer is not quite. We're going to try and get some control back in our vehicle, which we have now done. Oh, that's always going to hurt. Across there. It started okay, and then very rapidly went downhill. Oh. or overhill, as we might find out. I did also put the strength down before starting this. Don't want to be trying to pull these cars around like we were with a truck, otherwise we would end up sending them to orbit, or just ripping bits of bodywork off, and that's a little bit cheating. Well, this is where the stanced Pazima died. It was on this jump, in fact, it was the landing of this jump there, in exactly the same manner. Exactly the same manner that killed the stanced Pazima, killed the normal one. I think we might have rolled a little bit further. That is not the result that I was expecting. I'm going to be honest, was not expecting that result. Turns out the stanced car wasn't any worse than the normal one. That is a real turn up for the books. I guess this car has just got a weak main engine. I mean, that's an entire engine failure again. It's only the second sort of full engine failure that we've had. And it's both of the Pazimas that have gone with it. Yeah, that's not a result that I was expecting whatsoever. As I said, I do think we rolled slightly further than the stance car did, so technically we did beat it, but still, there we go. That is not a great showing. Not a great showing to start this episode. Neither car so far has made it off of their first lap. However, to finish off for today, we do have a car that should theoretically go towards the top of the table. Another much requested vehicle, the Rover, is going to have a go around this course. I've gone for a paramedics vehicle. We've had police cars go, and police cars have tended to do fairly well. So figured it would be a chance for a paramedic car to have a try at this course. Unfortunately, I will just see in case we've got a crappy automatic gearbox, nothing I can do about that one. The Roma is very well known for being, oh for God's sake, this gearbox is rubbish, for being incredibly strong. It has survived a hell of a lot of crashes that have killed many other cars. In Canyon Rally, I'm pretty sure it survived tumbles down the canyon, continued driving. So this has got the strength. This has got the strength, there is no doubt about that. I don't know what will happen if we break, when we break the radiator. I don't know how long it's going to take to overheat. That might become a big factor. We do seem to have some pretty decent speed across here. Whether we have too much speed, and much like with a rally car, we'll get into trouble from heavy landings, or whether we might, well, we're not going to have the, we don't have the crazy acceleration of some of the cars, so we're going to land a little awkwardly in some places. Oh dear. And we have, oh, we haven't quite rolled, we've got away with it, we have recovered. That was a very sprightly little bounce back up onto your wheels, Roma. It is keen to impress. I don't know whether we're going to have, oh god. Seem to remember the pickup doing a fairly similar thing across there. Now, Radiator Springs is going to be a difficult one. Are we going to have the speed? If the gearbox can get itself in the right gear, I think we might be okay. But it needs to get itself in the right gear. Oh, we're not going to be fast enough. Oh, although we get a nice landing. That is critical. We have survived Radiator Springs, and we might be able to survive it again for another lap. How are we looking damage-wise, though? In fact, the rear wheels are pretty solid at this moment in time. The rear is not that damaged. Are we going to have enough speed to clear this nicely? Or a little bit back down. Not normal flight path for a car. And a little bit front down over the next one. Have to have a bit of a fight for control. However, we have made that, no problem. Across towards the motocross section we go. This, where we might actually come undone in the Roma slightly. We do not have the crazy amount of speed. Oh, well, that's pulled the kind of step off the side, never mind. We don't quite have the crazy amount of speed and acceleration to get the nice rhythm going on, so we are going to crash and bounce around. Although if you want to be in a vehicle to crash and bounce around, let's face it, this is kind of the vehicle that you want. It is quite a well-suited vehicle, shall we say, to this kind of thing, the Roma. Uh-oh. Oh, we got away with it to an extent, and then we didn't. Okay, well, we've gone for another tumble. I think it's trying to beat... Is it the Pigeon that might have the record for rolling over? Oh, the Sunburst was quite a rolly car as well, if I remember correctly. Oh, there we go. Neatly does it across that final section. Yeah, we might go for a roll record. Not really sure. On this kind of really short... Well, other than to expect for it to go for a long time. I don't know what it's going to take to kill this. In all honesty, the Radiator has survived the opening lap, no problem. There is... Oh, God. Don't roll it unnecessarily. But yeah, the Radiator has survived lap 1. No issues whatsoever. It might be the furthest surviving... Did the Grand Marshal... No, the Grand Marshals might have died on lap 2. I can't actually remember when the Radiator went on that. In fact, the Bowlai's Radiator never did die. It just lost a wheel across a jump. So... Well, we've still got to beat that, and you know, we've still got a number of laps to go for things to go wrong for this. I do think Radiator Springs is probably the most likely place for problems to arise for this car. The rest of these jumps, I mean, we're landing heavily, but it is, you know, designed well enough. The suspension is dealing well, I think, with it. I'm not so sure about the rear left now. The rear left does look like that might have collapsed. Yeah, okay, the rear left's collapsed. And perhaps with repeated battering we might start breaking more important things. Oh, God. We're going to bounce a little bit more. Oh! Yeah, okay. The rear axle is now, I think, a goner. So it has survived a lap in okay shape. Now that rear is... Oh, that's not going to help the rear of the truck. Oh! That's an interesting one. That is not a thing... Oh, we've lost the wheel entirely. We are now a front-wheel drive Roma. That's an interesting turn of events. That is a very interesting turn of events. I wasn't expecting the wheel to snap off in such a manner. I mean, the radiator is still fine. Technically, we could keep going for a long, long time in this condition if we don't overheat the radiator, but we are now going to smack radiator springs face first. The issue is, and it always is the case really, with this series, the first lap, if you are barely making it across radiator springs, you're going to be in trouble, because as the vehicles take damage, they are going to get slower and slower. You're going to have less and less acceleration, and as you approach radiator springs for the second time round, chances are you're going to hit it face first. So, yeah. And especially when you've lost a wheel. If we hadn't lost the wheel, we might have been okay, but we have, so there's not much we can do about that one. And again, going to go for another roll, but we're fine. I could do without spending too much time stuck upside down on our side and having to try and get going again. Yeah, that was repeated battering to the back of the truck. Will, I guess, do that eventually. It'll just weaken that joint, and as it's bouncing around... Well, the thing with the ruined suspension is that when it's completely collapsed in the manner that this truck was, it's now not doing its job anymore. It's not kind of cushioning out the bumps and so on. So when you do then hit a jump, it's going to twist around. It's going to get thrown around in awkward and unusual manners. And in that case, we happen to land in such a way to snap off the rear wheel. Having said all of that, though, you know, the truck is still going. In fact, the front suspension, I think, is the front left doesn't look too good. The front right might be okay. How is that front? Yeah, the front... Okay. Bad things have happened. Have we still got drive? I don't think we do. I do not think we have any more drive. I think we lost... I saw the front left was collapsing, and that was that, really. Oh, we have still got some movement. We are a one-wheel drive. We are a one-wheel drive Roma. We have got to make it for... What was the furthest car onto lap 2? I think it kind of died around here. I do fear that this is going to make our overheating problems a lot worse, because we're having to just hold the throttle. Come on! Come on! You can make it up here and down the other side. That... Oh, no, bad. We lost all of our momentum. We've had to slightly skirt around a jump. Come on, make it onto lap 3, Roma. Make it on to this third lap. I'm having to skirt around the jumps a little bit cheatily here, because with the differentials as awful as they are in most of these standard vehicles, I'm amazed this one here is letting me drive on what is essentially its front right wheel drive, is what we have now. In fact, we've got to such a point where we have the automatic gearbox has tried second a couple of times. Come on! You only need a little bit more, car. Just a little bit more. Oh, no, the engine is really not happy with me doing this. I know, I'm sorry. If we stop, I don't know if it's going to get going again. So I can't stop and do anything to help it here. Come on! One-wheel drive Roma will make it on to the third lap. I mean, bonus points for effort. Bonus points for effort. It has clawed its way on. Can it get past? I mean, the diesel Bajarama died not much further down the road. I think we're going to blow the engine to bits, though, before we get to that point. Yeah, the diesel Bajarama was about... Oh, it might do it. It might do it. It might get past. It might get past that estate car. Come on. Keep going. I don't know how it's alive. It shouldn't be alive anymore. I do think we have passed the estate car. I mean, the Moonhawk was off in the foliage over the... Oh, we're dead. That would be it. Technically gone through overheating. That is a lot more to do with the wheel axle failure, though, than the engine. Yeah. An interesting one, this. You actually could see the suspension collapsing on the Roma, and as that suspension collapsed, that then became the weak point. That then when we went over a jump, the next time we went over a jump, that just wrecked it. I'm surprised it's not quite the result that I expected from this vehicle. I really did think this would challenge the Grand Marshal. I kind of had fears that this would just keep going on forever around this course and it would never stop. However, in this particular guise, we didn't. Repeated damage to the axles, to the suspension, would lead to essentially a loss of drive. Getting down to a one-wheel drive car is a new thing, a very new thing in this series. The only vehicle to have kept going when it was at one-wheel drive. At least I assume the rear wasn't doing anything. Like, it didn't look like it was kicking up any dust. It did only look like it was the front that was dragging it along, but there we go. I mean, credit for effort. It could have died quite a lot earlier around the lap, let's be honest. It could very easily have died halfway through lap 2. However, it did claw and drag its way around onto its third lap. So, while it's not at the top of the table, I still reckon a very impressive showing from the Roma. So, it is on to our leaderboards, and the Roma finds itself in 11th place. Can't even make it into the top 10. It does beat the Diesel Pazima, the Hot Rod Burnside, the H15 van, and so on. However, with that collapsing suspension, it's almost like once the suspension is collapsed, as soon as you then hit a wheel again, that's it, it's gone. Whereas other cars, that doesn't quite happen. As much it loses out to the Moonhawk, Sunburst, D-Series, even the I-Series race car. We have to go quite a lot further down to find the other cars in today's episode. The Pazima, in fact, the modern Pazima is the only car in this entire series so far, both versions, to have catastrophically broken the engine in a single hit. Everything else has gone through overheating and so on, but yeah, the two Pazimas managed to break their engines on an identical jump, with the non-stance car managing to carry a bit more speed, roll a little bit further. And then at the bottom, we have the cement mixer. Yes, something did worse than the K-Series around this course. Too much weight, too much force going on through that chassis, and the drive shaft went snap. That, though, is going to be it for this video, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.